this is Amy from paperandspool.com, and I am back here working on day 6 and 7 actually, and part of that is because day 6 is already done. What I did here is I took a piece of transparency that I bought at Michael's and I attached on the back these tiny little 2.5 by 2 inch envelopes that I made using my We Are Memory Keepers envelope board punch. And I just used red line tape to adhere them to the transparency. I made 6 of them for the day 6, and then I spelt the word 6 with green letter stickers from Studio Calico. And then I just added a variety of embellishments. I found that this was a really great way to use all those little pieces because we buy all these products and you need to remember to use them too. And I sometimes find myself really drawn to simple layouts, but this was a great opportunity to just add all the things, all the bling. So day 6, what I'm going to do tonight with my family, we're going to watch Christmas movies tonight, and we're just going to fill out little cards to slip in here. And that I'm not going to do anything more for that because I feel that that is a really great interactive element. We're going to have the chance to talk together and create the memory of writing the cards and putting them in. And I don't think that that's something necessarily that you need to see the whole process for. So I can show you maybe on a later day me putting them in if that's really interesting to people. But that's a very easy way for a day when you can't take a photo. If it's a day that's dark, like we were chatting a little bit on the Facebook group about the limited amount of light in this time of year. And if you have a day where you're just not home at all during that window of light, this would be a great way to still document. It's still pretty and fun, and it's very lightly colored, but I can do it at night and I don't need a photo to go with that. So then I'm going to show you, I'm actually going to take this page out. I do have a plan for this, and I thought I was going to do it here on like leading from day 6 into day 7, but I'm just going to save it. So I'm just going to set that aside. I'll show you those things at another time because I don't want to spoil that one. But what I had here was a half circle of my holiday cup, and then this peppermint mocha, and this was a project that I did for Jessica at Colorcast Designs, using her product here, the peppermint mocha acrylic piece. But I have totally changed it. I took it all apart. I took this and I cut it down to a 3x4 card. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to cut it into the same tag shape that all of my other cards are cut into on the other side, on the day 7 here. That's how I cut tags. It's super fancy. I use a tag that I already have and I cut along the same lines as that one. So I've made it look like all the others. I'm going to take the 7 out here, and I'm going to reverse the order. I'm going to put the cup in this pocket here, and I'm going to put the snowflakes over there just because like the color and the color. I might have to do, actually, you know what I'm going to have to do? I'm going to have to swap it with this one because I don't want the picture to be covered up by the ribbon, and that ribbon is not going to move. So just a little edit in terms of the layout, but still the same general idea for the page. And then what I'm going to do, I don't know how many of you saw this on Instagram, but Crystal has been killing it at December Daily this year, and she was so kind to say that I inspired her to do it. And I knew as soon as I saw it that I was going to scrap lift it because you know that wreaths are my jam. And if you've ever heard me talk about wreaths and seen any of I always have a wreath page in my December Daily somewhere. So she took, I have done for the past couple of years a circle wreath that opened up and did some stuff on either side. One year I used one of my own wreaths in the circle, and one year I used a wreath that I had taken a photo of at Anthropology. So they don't even have to be your own wreaths if you like the wreath. It wasn't one that was for sale. I think it was like a display or something like that. But this is one of my own wreaths. I put this on the front door this year with this little sign in it, and my husband really liked it, so I thought that would be a good one to document because it doesn't always look like this. It's a little bit different than it has been in the past, and I honestly can't even remember if I've ever photographed this wreath before. That's how many wreaths I have, guys. It's a sickness. I don't know. He definitely thinks it's a sickness. But she cut it into a hexagon, which was so brilliant. And what I did is I took some photos from around the house and I laid them out in Photoshop and printed them. This polka dot is from the Paisley Press December You Are My Favorite. It's a digital. So the only actual paper that I added here is the snowflake star snowflakes with the rose gold foil, and then this one, which is my absolute favorite paper from the snowflake collection. It's just a pink with a little yellow dot, my two favorite colors, pink and yellow, and then a white stripe, which probably white and black probably qualify as number 3 and 4 on my favorite color list. So I've got a photo of me by the tree, a bokeh photo of the tree, the boy playing with his Sinterklaas present, and then a stack of all the pajamas that we're wearing around here this year. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere one of these together, and then I'm going to cut that wreath in half, which is going to be, that's going to be the moment of truth here. Make sure I did this right. So all I did for this was, now this is where you want to make sure you get it all on the right side. Yes, this goes here. I thought this through as I was setting my photos on the template even. So this one is going to go on the front half, and then that one is going to go on the back half. But I'm actually going to cut it in half first. And so I'm going to use the guide of what I already cut to cut that. Perfect. Now these two pieces I'm going to put together. Make sure they're facing the right way, because, although I guess at this point with them cut out, I might not be able to do it backwards, which would be, that's useful. Now what I like to do on these type of pages, even when I create bigger glued together style pages, is I like the edges to be as neat as possible. So I'm just going to go in, and I'm not really worried about exact straight lines, because honestly I can't really tell when I've got my things together. Unless you do a terrible job of trimming, I suppose. So I'm going to trim them down so that they all match exactly. I feel like I did that one already. Okay. And then just check it from both sides. And honestly, even with the picture side on this one, I don't think I'm actually actively trimming enough to make it not line up anymore. It should be fine. And I'm going to do the same on this one. With bigger ones, I tend to just trim one and then trim two sides and adhere it like with way over extra so that I can just trim down a whole bunch, but that's not what I did in this case. So now I am going to punch these. I always like using something that I've already got in the album as my guideline. And Allie taught me this trick last year. Punch with your hole puncher open so you can see exactly where you are punching. And I'll show you my punch in just a second here. It's the We Are Memory Keepers punch. It goes through everything. I have never had a problem punching anything with this punch. So I am now going to put that one back in, and then this one can fit in, and that one. So there it goes, and it's got now this fancy little opening. And that is not even the end of Crystal's amazing, fantastic ideas. Now I am going to put my number 7 here. No, it's a little bit big. Wasn't really, I like that all right though. It can kind of overhang a little bit into the photo. And that top photo isn't so fancy that it really needs the whole thing to be seen. Okay, so I've got my number 7 on there, because that's for this, which I've already done the journaling here, and this is good to go. Now this is where Crystal's total genius comes through. So she used her Avery Index tabs, and because this is such an interactive element, it's within the size of the other sheets. You want a way to grab it, and so she used her Avery Index tabs, which I am going to also do, to grab the first one and then another one to grab the second one. So now when you look at it here, you're going to see both of them. So you can pull the first one and then the second one, and then you've made your way onto the end side. So what I'm going to go back here and do is I want a little bit of embellishment on this one. I need a little bit of a place to tell a story, because I've already got the story of this side. That's already written down here, and it's just lots of nice light twinkle lights and coffee, and there's nothing wrong with this story. This story is telling itself. The wreath, of course, I'm probably going to add a little bit of something over here, maybe with a tag or a little sticker or something like that. And then I did want to add a little bit more on the front here. So my main process for this kind of stuff is throw everything you've got at it and then find what sticks. So here, I really like the idea of layering this holiday cup piece from Jessica at Color Cast Designs on top of this photo and number, because I have been using this cup non-stop since I got it, so it's perfect. Helps me tell my story, which is what your products should always do. Sometimes I just use my tape runner to adhere these pieces, and that's usually when they're on the inside of a pocket. When they're on the outside, I like to use the red line tape because I just know that it's probably going to hold them on a little bit better when I use the red line tape. Although this one, a little sloppy. Fold it over there. Don't want to see too much of it. So I'm going to add that here. I really like the white on white. That is working for me. And as I kept going here, I pulled out more stuff. So for this middle one, I was kind of thinking I might use this holiday cheer piece. But I would really love a way to kind of anchor it to something else. Maybe a couple of them together is a fun idea. I pulled this joy one, but it's such a good one on its own. I don't love the idea of kind of cutting it down. But if I had like a stack, I would want them all at different levels, though. I don't know about that. I'm going to come back to that idea. I also kind of thought just jolly, Candy Cane Lane, we're kind of jolly around here. I pulled this one because I wasn't sure if maybe there was a sentiment here that I was going to enjoy. Maybe, we'll see. I'm going to go over to this one here because I actually found the perfect one, and I'm going to put it right here. And it's this messy and loud one. I think that's great sentiment for what I've got going on here. And I don't think it even really needs much more than that. If I just kind of bridge the gap between the photo and the bottom. Yeah, I like that. There's no need for it to get too out of hand. So I'm just back to this one. And maybe what I will do is, I always love this when other people do it. I tend to have kind of a hard time doing it myself, but maybe I'll just make kind of like a little bottom stack of a whole bunch of these. So again, this is one of those things where I feel like other people do this a lot better than I do, and I always seem to struggle when it comes to trying to grab a whole bunch of these that are going to work at the same time. And I should probably go and see if I know I have pink ones, but they're rounded edges, and I don't think that'll work with what I've got happening here. And now I'm just going to cut these it goes. Okay, so now that has also dictated what I'm gonna put here. Because this is all straight and line-like, I want to put a round embellishment here. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab these are the chipboard. Oh, I thought I had two of them around here. This is the chipboard from the Advent calendar. So this is what I'm going to use. This Bring On the Merry. And so that's going to kind of cover up some of one of them for sure is gone. But that is okay because I really love that look. I think that went exactly where I was hoping it would go. And then all I have left to do is I'm going to make little inserts for these. And I still have the inserts and I'm going to stamp on them. So I am going to now search for the correct sentiments in my stamps and then I'll add those in there. I think I'm going to let you guys go though because I've babbled on here for ages now. Feels like forever anyways. The only thing I have left to do is add some ribbon to this little tag. And I don't know where my stapler is, so I'm going to go the lazy route. And I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive inside there and then make sure that it's not sticking out. And there. So that is a bit, you can see that this is an easy way to move from one color scheme into another color scheme. And so it's very, very bright in the middle, and then it's very, very pink. And you never see the two of them at the same time. Well, I guess you see this side, but it's pretty neutral. So it's an easy way to make that work as a transition. So if you're trying to move from one color scheme to another, this would be a great way to do it. And this works with both sides, so that's great. And I'm very pleased with how that turned out. So again, huge thanks to Crystal. I'll link her in the description here so that you can find her on Instagram, and I'll make sure I tag her on Instagram as well when I post the photo of this so you can find her. And it turned out awesome.